I'd say we've been at this 2.5 years in the current form, same talking points. We were ignored largely. We could only get in California news. We did very well, but outside of California couldn't get any attention. Then Donald Trump was elected as America's popular choice for president. And I point that out because if you remove the California population, he did win the popular vote. And that's the point, is that California culture is not like American culture. The guy came here and he was reacted to with riots, and it was the only place where they shut down the freeway, and he literally had to crawl over cinder blocks to get to his speaking event. That didn't happen anywhere else in America. But when he came to California, that was the reception he got. So, really don't like him. Now, I don't encourage violence and cursing, but it's very clear to see that he never would have been a candidate here, ever. He never would have been taken seriously, and he never would have been elected. And all three of those things happened in America. November 9th, we gained thousands of members in about 36 hours. We went from around 10 to 11,000 people and 30 newspaper articles and a book and some international news and at least one article by the New York Times and ABC TV to everyone in the world knowing about this and every news agency in America covering this. And 30,000 people on Facebook, 13,000 registered volunteers, and 110,000 people on email. We were doing okay. We had been an official organization in a registered PAC before, but after November 9th, people understood that what we had been saying 2.5 years ago was the truth. America is a very different place than California, with real harsh differences in the law. Not like, oh, they eat anchovies on their pizza and we like gefilte fish. Real differences. Nobody argued with us. People joined. And they saw that we had already had a book out, we had a presence, we had talking points, we had been around, you could tell what we were saying. And it matched with what people felt at that moment. So we got very big. November 9th was when we entered a new era. We filed a petition on November 20th, and we got even more news because we were following international law. Under international law, if you want to become independent, you have to have a vote or a poll, something that says your people want this. So when we actually got the initiative coordinator of the California Attorney General's office to approve our petition, it meant that we had actually figured out how to do the internationally recognized legal law and precedent and spirit, a core process to make this happen. We got another bump in seriousness. Then around December 20th, we created a cultural center, aka an embassy, in a foreign country. If you want to be recognized as an independent nation under international law and precedent, it doesn't matter what you do unless a real nation says, I see you. It's called recognition. You can say whatever you want, but until another country says, I will recognize you as a nation if you legally and peacefully break off, it's just talk. When we got that cultural center in another recognized country, who's a member of the UN and a Security Council member, that was huge. That meant that we had filed the paperwork. The world knew we were having a vote, which means they would send international monitors when the vote happened. And we had a country saying they would recognize us if we passed the vote. That's the first 3 steps. On January 20th, Donald Trump is going to become officially the President of America. There are protests planned in San Francisco, Oakland, and Los Angeles on the Friday the 20th of the inauguration and Saturday the day after on the 21st. Yes, California is going to be at all of those protests. So I see a lot of California officials saying, we're going to push back and we're going to fight. You're going to try. And if Donald Trump is able to stack the Supreme Court with the justices that he chooses, and the Republicans are still in control of the Congress and the Senate, there's literally nothing legally that you can do. Get ready for an era of impotence, which means we think people are going to realize, hey, if you're part of the system, you cannot protect yourself. So the only option to make people here feel safe is to not be part. And we think when the government of California fails using the federal system to protect its citizens from a madman and a crazed, deregulated, broken system, that they will be open to new options, such as pursuing their own legal destiny. And that's why the 20th and 21st is important.